just restart my stopwatch here so I know I don't go over. Right, okay, here we go. So my name is Derek. I'm one of the trainers, and I'm doing the webinar today. Also with us, we have Sam. He's on hand here to answer any of your questions. Now, at the end of the webinar, there will be 10 minutes you can ask questions and stuff. But if you do want to ask one during the webinar, Sam's going to answer those questions, and I'll show you in a second how you can ask those questions. So we're going to be doing today's masterclass, it's called now, and managing holidays and absences. And this is one of the free webinars we do most months. Okay, let's see what we have. So if you want to ask questions, don't use the chat, use the Q&A option on your Zoom toolbar and type in your message there, and Sam will do his best to answer you. What are we going to do exactly today? We're going to look at understanding the holiday tab on the staff record. I look at the absence tab as well. And we're going to look at adding holidays and absences. And I'm also going to talk about what's the difference between authorized and unauthorized absences, and where the information gets displayed when you put on an absence or a holiday, where you can go and check it, stuff like that. Okay, let's go and jump into CoolCare. So let's see if I can share my screen. See if we get this bit done right. Yep, that's good. We're in. That's a success. Okay, so when it comes to individual staff members' holidays, the records of their holidays are kept on their staff record, and their absences as well. Let me just show you where. If I go to staff and staff record, and who will we pick? Oh, Carol. She's got some holidays, I'm sure. Let's click on Carol. I'm on Carol's record, and if I go to T&A, time and attendance, and I go to holidays, what I see down here are the holidays she has taken, as well as the holidays she has requested. You can see the dates, you can see the hours that have been deducted for those particular days of holiday, and who authorized it. You will notice here that some of them are set to 0. So the reason 0 is, in this case, our friend Carol, she had holidays from the 24th to the 26th. These 2 days she had shifts. This day she did not have a shift. So why have we got a holiday on that day? If someone had come to allocate someone to an unassigned shift on the 26th, it's to stop them picking Carol. So they will see at the very bottom of the list of people who are available in yellow, it'll say holiday authorized. They'd know she had a holiday authorized that day, so not to book her. Now, it is true that if they really want to book her, they can, but it's to stop them doing it by accident. Okay, what else can we see on here? We can see how it's calculated, how many hours the person's entitled to. It's used the holiday entitlement. So this is in days. So someone's already put this into the system. So the holiday entitlement in days, their hours per week, as well as their average days. It uses that to come up with a calculation of how many hours. Just bear with me for 1 second. I just realized my screen is very light. There we go, a little bit brighter. Okay, so here I can see it's got 132 hours. If the person had not taken all their holidays in the previous holiday year, what you can do is you can bring over the holidays if you want. So say there was 10 hours she hadn't taken, I was nice enough to bring it into this year. I can add it in here, it'll add it onto this year's entitlement. It'll show me here what has been accrued to date. So because of what she's worked, what holidays have accrued. It'll show me what holidays have been booked. Now that's taken and booked. It'll also show me accrued entitlement. So because she's taken just about an hour more than she's accrued, or accrued is in the minus, and CoolCare is quite happy to let the accrued go into minuses. It doesn't care about that. What it will not let go into minuses is your total entitlement. It'll only ever let you give the total. It'll only let you give you as much holidays as the person is entitled to. It'll never let you go into a minus on that one. Okay, let's go up here to the top again. Let's go T&A and look at absences. It's showing me the dates the person was absent. It's showing me the hours that were deducted for those absences. It's showing me how many days the absence was. Was it 1 day? Was it 3 days? And it's also showing me here the reason for the person being absent. Over here, it divides the absences into authorized and unauthorized. I'll be talking about unauthorized in a little while. Also, once it has about 11 to 12 months of information, the system set up correct, it can actually start to calculate the Bradford factor for you, but it needs 11 or so months of information before it can start to kind of get that accurate. Right. So what about the actual booking holidays and booking absences? First thing I'm going to say about this is people get confused. Although you can see holidays on the rota, and I'm hoping I have some here you can see. Let's see. There you go. There you go. There's a holiday that was given to Paul. Although that holiday is on the rota, it's not saved on the rota. So on the rota, I could go in, I could delete this shift, I could put a different shift in, I could allocate someone to it. It doesn't matter what I do on the rota because the holidays and absences are saved on the calendar. So here on my calendar, I can see my holidays, I can see absences, I can see training. By the way, if this gets really, really busy for you and there's a lot of information on there, turn off the bit you're not interested in. I'm not interested in training. I'm not interested in absence. I'm just looking at holidays. If the holiday's got a green line under it, that means it was authorized. If it's got a red line, it means it was an absence. Okay, so let's look about giving someone some holidays. So let me go onto my rota, see who's working and who I can give some holidays to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into next month. Say I'm going to jump into next month. Let's have a look. Who have we got? Oh, we got Helen Myers. So let's say Helen Myers wanted holiday for the 3rd and the 4th of where are we? July. If I go back here to my calendar and I go to July and I go to the 3rd, first of all, I can see no one else is off on holiday. If she wanted the 5th, I can see Paul Brennan's off that day. I can also see the Tuesday, Paul Brennan asked for a holiday, but it was declined. So I'm going to click here on Wednesday. I'm going to do a holiday request. And I'm going to give this to Helen. There she is, Helen Myers. I've got it. Yeah. So there it is. I have the holiday for the 3rd. She wants the 4th as well. And let's put the 2 days on. Now it's put in 12 hours. It's put in 12 hours because that's how long the shift is. If you pay for breaks, that's not a problem. If you don't pay for breaks, then yes, it can be. Because let's say in a 12-hour shift, she has 1.5 hour break. You can't take away hours you don't pay the person for. So if in a 12-hour shift, she gets paid for 10.5 hours, you would manually have to change this to 10.5. It'll always show the shift length. So if you don't pay for the breaks, you'll have to change it. Also, let's say Helen wanted a few more days off. Let's say to the 7th. So these 3 days have zeros on them. Again, that's because she's got no shifts. Well, she's got no shifts, I won't put any holidays on. What's the point? Again, it's to stop someone trying to allocate a shift to Helen when she's holidays authorized on like the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. That's why you would do that. Okay, let's just keep it simple. Let's just go back to the 4th and the 5th. Oops, sorry, the 3rd and the 4th. There you go. Okay, now I'm not going to authorize this. I'm just going to save it. So I've saved that. Let's go and look at my rota. And if I look at my rota, I can see if I move over here, because we're nearly in July, believe it or not, there is the 2 holidays. Now they haven't been granted, they haven't been declined, they're just authorized. That's okay, I can see them, they're easy to remember to do it. But what if she put in a holiday request for November or September? How am I going to remember I have to go back in and do something with that holiday? All holidays that are put on the system, that are waiting to be dealt with, on the dashboard, there is a widget called Calendar Actions. And there is Helen's request waiting for me to deal with it. That'll stay there until it's dealt with. In fact, you can see I'm a bit sloppy with my admin. I've still got one here waiting for 2023. Okay, so let's go and deal with Helen. So I'll click on Helen. It takes me into a different view of the calendar. The request that Helen put in is flashing because that's the one I used to get in here. And if I click on that, we're back to the holiday screen. So what I'm going to do with Helen is I'm going to authorize this one. I'm going to decline this one here. Now you can see now it's changed now. She's only going to have 10.5 hours taken away for this. You can also see, by the way, her accrued entitlement here, her total entitlement here, and her contracted hours. Right, let's save this. Remember, I've given her the holidays for the 3rd. It says, hey, do you want me to take her off the rota for the 3rd? And your answer to that is going to be yes, because you want that to be empty in case you have, so whoever on doing the rota knows it's empty and they're going to assign someone else to cover that shift. Okay, say that, yeah. So you can see here, that's been authorized, that hasn't. Let's jump back onto the rota for a second. Again, if we move over, there is the holiday that, excuse me, there's the holiday that we gave her. And there you go, the 4th, it's gone back to being a normal shift and because it was declined. Also, because this button here is turned on, our friend Helen will have been sent a text message telling her that day was authorized and that day was declined. Remember, no matter what I do here, I can delete this, I can put someone else onto it. It makes no difference because the record of the holiday is always kept on the calendar, as well as shown on the staff member's record as well. There you go. Okay, so that's holidays. What about absences? Let's go have a look at absences. Let's go back to the rota. So there are three kind of, well, not three, there's one type of absence really. But you can have an absence that's for the past, i.e., excuse me for 1 second. You come in today and you discover Paul Brennan wasn't in yesterday. So you can put yesterday's absence on today. Paul rings in, says he's not going to be in today. You can put his absence on today. Paul wants a holiday in the future, but he's got, or a day off in the future, but he's got no holidays. If you decided, oh, we're going to give him an unpaid holiday, you could put that in as an absence. Whether it's a past absence, a present absence, or a current absence, or a future absence, it works the same way. So let's say you come in today and you discover that Paul wasn't in yesterday, so an absence needs to be put in for him. Let's just jump back and have a look, and you'll see that he has, or he had, a shift yesterday. Let's go to our calendar. There's today's date. Let's go to yesterday. If I click here, I can do my absence. It's for Paul. I'm going to pretend it's for his whole shift. 727. You have to put a reason in. If you don't put a reason in, it won't let you save it. I'm just going to pick family reason. Now, if Paul had been sick, I could say self-certified, or I could say doctor's note, and then it'll ask me to put in an expiry date. If the absence is going to be a long absence, maybe it's a bereavement, you don't know when exactly the person's coming back. It's maternity leave, even if you know the dates it's going to be, but it's going to be a long, long absence. What you always do is you always go for continuing absence. If you put continuing absence, what it'll do is every day it'll just add an absence to the record. When that person comes back, so they'll come back on the 1st of August, you go in into the calendar, 1st of August, go into the absence, untick that, and that's it. The continuing absence will stop. Right. So I'm going to put that in as an absence. I know he was sick. He came in today or whatever. We know it was a valid absence. I'm going to authorize that. Again, remember, if you don't pay for breaks, you can only take away the hours that he was paid for. If I save that. Again, it says, want to take him off the rota. Yes, I do. Okay, there he goes. There's his absence. Let's go back to the rota for a second. Let's go back to yesterday. Okay, so there, Paul didn't come in. That's great. But say someone did come in to cover for him. You want to show that that person was in. Now, yes, you could just click here and you could just pop the person's name in. That's fine. So what if you hold for 1 second? That's better. What if you find out that the person couldn't come in from 7 to 7? You didn't contact them at 8. They came in at 9. They couldn't stay till 6. You could just put their name onto this shift. It would be fine because when they clocked in at 9, clocked out at 6, that would record the hours in the timesheet. But let's say we want to make it look exactly perfect. You can do this. You could delete that shift and replace it with an ad hoc one. Click, shift. Don't want to do one of my normal ones. I want to do an ad hoc one. It was during the day. The person who came in covered from 9 o'clock to, let's say, 6 o'clock. Go. Click here. Put in whoever came in. We'll use Jill. Now, that was an absence. I deleted it. I replaced the person with someone else. As I said, it makes no difference because on the calendar, the absence is recorded. And that was an authorized absence. So what's an unauthorized absence? All right. A lot of people don't understand an unauthorized absence. Well, let me just show you how that works. So let's go back to our rota again for a second. So we're in work. Paul rings in this morning, says he can't make it in. Okay, right. I'm going to go and put an absence in for him. I go to my calendar. I go to today, and lo and behold, Paul had a holiday today that was declined. So now maybe I'm a bit suspicious of this absence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. I'm going to add the absence. Okay. That's Paul. Again, I'm going to put his whole shift. Put my reason in because I have to. Won't let me save it without it. Again, I can't. If you don't pay for holidays, I can. Sorry, for breaks, I can only take away the hours I pay for. So I'm going to do 10.5 again. But this time, I'm going to leave it as unauthorized. When I save it, first thing it won't do is it won't ask me to take him off the rota. If I go to my rota, you'll see his name is still there. But maybe I'm getting someone else in to cover his shift. There's no problem. I can click here. I can unassign him. And I could put someone else in to cover that shift. The difference is this. Let's go back to that dashboard and the calendar actions widget. In purple, Paul's name's appeared because basically it's saying, I've got an unauthorized absence. You've got to decide what you want to do with it. So let's say Paul comes in 2 days from now. That unauthorized absence will still be sitting there. So I can do one of two things. I have a chat with Paul and discover it's just a coincidence. The two things weren't linked. It's just one of those things. I could click here. I could go to the absence and I could just authorize it and save it and everything's great with the world. But what if he comes in and he says, the excuse he gives me, and I think, I'm not buying this. What I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to leave it as an unauthorized absence. But if I leave it as an unauthorized absence, my problem seems to be that it just sits here. Well, what it does, it sits there for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, it'll just disappear into the system. The difference for Paul is this. Let's go look at his record. Paul Brennan. If I go here and I click on absences, I will see authorized, he's had 54, unauthorized, he's had 10.5. So when I go to look at his record in the future, I can see if this person ends up with a lot of unauthorized stuff. So there's something funny going on, or if the absences are authorized. So that's the difference. If you go back here for a sec to the calendar. So if I have a holiday, sorry, an absence that is authorized, did the wrong one. Do that again. If I have a calendar, if I have an absence that is authorized, it takes them off the rota, which you're normally used to seeing, and just disappears. If it is an unauthorized absence, go. It will sit on the widget on the dashboard for up to 2 weeks, and then it just vanishes. The idea of that is if he comes in a week later, maybe it gives you a chance to say, "Oh, hang on, I've got to just chat to you about this. Why weren't you in?" Okay, I understand why 20 minutes always flies by when we're doing this. So I'm going to try and fit one more thing in for you. Let me go back to. I'm going to regret doing this, I bet. Let's go back to the rota for a second. I'll do this very quickly. If you have somebody who only wants half day, how do I deal with a half day, whether it's a holiday or an absence? This is what you would do. Orla there wants the 29th as a half day. What I would do in this case is I would go to my calendar, Orla 29th. I'd go to the 29th. I'd do a holiday request. I'd do it for Orla. There she is. It's going to be for a day, but I'm going to say 6 hours. Again, it's however many hours you would pay her when she wasn't in. So I'm going to say 6 hours, just to make it easy. I'm going to authorize it. I'm going to make it nice and quick. I'm going to save that. Take her off the rota. Yes. Go back to my rota. Our friend Orla is missing for holiday. She's off that day, except she's not off that day. She's working. Let's say she's working in the morning. This is what I would do. I would click here and I delete the shift. I would click here and add in an ad hoc shift. Can I do this in time? And on that shift, I would say she's working from 7 to 1, say. There you go. And then on here, we could drop Orla. Now remember, we told Orla she's going to have holidays that day. So she will be down here at the very bottom. There she is. Although she's holiday authorized, I can still put her onto the rota. So on the rota, she's going to be working for 6 hours. She's going to clock in and hopefully clock out. Also on the calendar, she has a holiday. There it is for 6 hours. And that would make 6 hours work and 6 hours holiday. That make the whole day. Obviously, you got to work out the breaks and stuff like that, but I'm not doing that now. I've still got one problem left. Go back to my rota. My problem that's left is this. Orla's working 7 to 1. Who's working 1 to 7? This is why you always have your spare lines, your blank lines, so you can do stuff like this. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go and put another ad hoc shift in. It's going to be a day. It's going to be from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Add a shift. And in here, I'm going to say whoever's going to cover for, move my head so I can see, Jill. We'll have Jill again. There she goes. The order is working 7 to 1. Jill is working 1 to 7. And Orla also has on the calendar for the same day, she has her holiday. And on the timesheet, it would show the working hours and the holiday hours. Okay, I knew I wouldn't fit that in exactly the 20 minutes, but I really wanted to show you that one. So there you go. We're going to stay online. Myself and Sam use the Q&A to ask any questions, and myself and Sam will do our best to answer your questions. Oh, also, yes, I'm not finished yet. So it'll be, the recording will be up on YouTube as well. Also, I've got to jump back to this PowerPoint thing. There's 2 things I got to say to you, or 3 things, should I say. Let me see, can I bring it back up properly? Go. Yes, next month's webinar or masterclass will be based on digital reception. Whether you're overseeing finance and payroll, rota management, tracking residents and occupancy or inquiries, you can work with our product specialists online or in person. Contact the training team to check if you have existing available training or if you would like to purchase more. And you can contact us on training@coolcare4.co.uk or phone us on the number that's got all the 3s in it, 0113 385 3853. And that's it. Thank you for attending, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one, which is digital reception. Bye-bye, but we will be online